Arms, Glocks, Uzis, pieces, cannons. Whatever name you want to give guns, they all sound serious and they all do serious damage. Now, I know I already used my freeze, I've got a gun introduction, but for the sake of this speech, I'm going to say freeze, I don't have a gun, neither should you, they should be banned. Today I'm going to attempt to convince you all why guns should be completely banned in Canada. I'll be going over the brief history of gun laws, the statistics on gun crime, and finally why guns should be banned as a whole. So from about 1892 up until now, the Canadian government has allowed its citizens to own firearms with the condition of having some kind of license. Over the years, different variations of that license have changed, certain guns have been restricted, and Canadian judicial laws have been created to keep guns as controlled as possible. As of right now, there are different classes of licensing Canadian citizens can own that allow them to carry certain types of guns. A non-restricted license will allow you to carry more types of guns than a restricted license, but even still, there are certain guns that you are not, under any circumstances, allowed to possess. The ammunition and gun have to be stored separately in the house, and if you are driving somewhere, separately in the car. Also, the newest laws introduced require policemen and government agencies that use guns to report all firearms in their temporary or permanent possession. So, with all the restrictions and precautions on guns in Canada, why would I care if they were banned or not? I mean, I'm a guy. I like guns. They fascinated me since I got my first Nerf gun in grade 3. But my real concern is that guns can be linked to gun crime. On an international level, Canada ranked 14th highest in murders with firearms with 144. The US, which is known to have a higher gun crime rate, ranked 4th with 9,369. Per capita, this dropped Canada down to about 20th position and the US to about 8th. However, the other countries that were ranked higher in the study were countries like Thailand, Colombia, and Mexico, who are still developing compared to Canada. Not to mention that Canada's population is considered to be relatively low compared to most countries. Interestingly enough, Britain ranked almost 40th in murder with firearms and 32nd per capita. The reason I compare Canada to Britain is because of Canada's harsher policies on guns. In Britain, most, if not all, handguns are completely banned with some exceptions. Semi-automatics and most rifles are illegal, and all guns have to be kept in a police-inspected steel cabinet. With the exception of specially trained units, even most police officers do not carry handguns. That's why in those movies, you'll see the British officer still with the billy club or the nightstick. Now this leads to my last point. I myself have never shot a gun, but I've held a rifle, a sniper, and a shotgun, and even just holding them is pretty exhilarating. Having that much power in your hands, it's almost like a high. However, I believe that the satisfaction of owning or firing a weapon should be outweighed by the general safety of the public. Statistically, yes, registered gun owners are less likely to actually shoot anyone than other people. But the fact is that since guns are allowed in the country in the first place, they are able to circulate much easier. Even in countries like Britain, where most guns are banned, people still find ways to obtain guns illegally, but it's probably a lot harder to get them in Britain than in Canada or the US. I mean, last year when I was working at Canadian Tire in the sports section, this guy came up to me and asked if we sold guns. I said no, and he said, no, not for killing people, just like squirrels and cats. I mean, clearly some people should not be buying guns. And if you want to justify keeping guns legal, you'd have to justify making drugs legal as well. Like, for example, some people will become addicted to cocaine or heroin and end up destroying their lives or killing themselves. Are there heroin firing ranges where people are allowed to shoot up? No. Are policemen and registered cocaine holders allowed to carry cocaine? No. Those drugs are both completely legal, and all they do is have the potential to directly damage the user's life. Guns have the potential to damage innocent lives, and they don't just kill you over time, they kill you instantly. So, to sum it up, the Canadian gun laws that are set up allow citizens to own guns with very strict conditions. But even with these laws set up, gun crime is still relatively higher in North America than the rest of the world per capita. In Britain, where they are almost completely banned, gun crimes are a lot lower, perhaps implying a better model for gun laws. If you think about it, guns are collector's items. Yes, they are meant for protection and recreational use, and for the most part, people with common sense and gun licenses don't abuse the laws. But the fact is that they are still being abused, and it's a matter of doing something for the greater good. Perhaps we should reconsider our current model for the Canadian gun laws. Thank you.